How's it going, folks? I'm Matthew. This is Morris Cards, and today we're just hanging out. I wanted to do one of these for a little bit, and I saw Eisenhertz do one. I guess I should talk with my hands to something on screen. And yeah, and I re-sleeved my deck and was thinking about actually moving some of the bling pieces into a different deck that I might be playing more. So I wanted to go ahead and record this before I moved anything, and then also just kind of show, what my Thras deck looks like. In some of the community discords, I'm kind of known for, I guess, my specific taste in cards, and sometimes, posting my bling, and I really enjoy collecting. That's become more of a part of how I engage with the format, and honestly become one of my favorite parts. And I really like the idea of self-expression through cardboard. So today I'm going to be going over my current Rograkh list. I do have a couple cards that I'm testing. I'll go over the actual swaps, like with Cabbage Merchant, which I think is just, it's about to come out and it's such a slam dunk. I want to try it, and I've made some deck building decisions based around that, but I don't want to show my ugly paper proxies. Go over my thoughts on certain cards, why I go for certain printings, and just generally like an overview, just kind of a chill talk about what I, think about the deck, and why I collect the cards that I do, stuff like that. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, let me know down below. What does your deck look like? I won't pretend I'm the only person to really go for the Japanese foils, but I know personally I've been blamed for the Japanese foils obsession for other people's posting those, especially in the Rograkh Discord, some of the people around here as well, down in the southeast. Let me know if you also blame me for that as well. With all that being said, I think we can just go ahead and hop into it and talk about the deck. Use the link in the description below to download Whatnot, and you'll get $15 to use to buy Magic singles, sealed product, get anything that you want, really. There's no limits. You just get $15 on the account for free just for signing up. Use the link in the description below. Give Whatnot a try. All right, hopefully my setup isn't too janky. I wanted something that was concise enough, not too big of a thing, and then also looked decent. My normal webcam kind of looks like garbage. So the first things, we got our commanders, of course. These are not the commanders I use in being this printing, but Rograkh and Thrasios. These are the English signed foil etches I got from my friend Dylan, who I met through doing cEDH coaching, I think originally on Rograkh for him. I basically use these if someone asks me what my commanders do, which usually means it's a more casual player, but every event is somebody's first event. Normally what I'm known for is using this, and I have my Silas one as well. I can't really do much about the glare without taking these out of the cases, which I didn't really want to do, but I have a triptych, which is a 3-piece panorama of my commanders that I use. These were altered by Jade from Altars by Altars. They're a duo of altarists in Georgia. They're usually at CCS, at the Atlanta stuff. That's where I usually run into them and get stuff done. And it includes Silas as well, because my whole idea was, we just kind of randomly while at CCS decided, there were some altarists there, they had some cool looking stuff, and we're like, hey, I think I won the small event there or something like that, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get my commanders done. I've had this idea for a panorama, and you can arrange these in any order and they'll line up. Like the skulls will go over to here and the skulls to there, which was not part of my original thing, but is an awesome extra thing that they did when I said, because I basically just, whenever I get something done by them, I just tell them to cook, just do what you're thinking. And I just had the idea of, I want Rog in the middle, and I was going to do these for all these commanders I've topped events with, which would include adding Tevish, Kinnan, Timna, and Crom to this panorama. I think that's it, but I haven't added those because I'm not as passionate about them really. I did play Tevish Trash so I could link them up, and also Crom and Timna don't link with this unless I want something with Rog Timna. So that might be something I do, but if I do get altars done, it's usually by them. There's some other altars that I might get something from, but I'm not the biggest into altars. They've been kind of an exception, and it might be something I do occasionally. I just don't like doing it to every card. I like doing it for cards that matter to me. I really love them. It's a lot of fun just to play a game of cEDH and have people recognize them. You know what? I'm gonna pause here. I am gonna take them out of the case. I don't think I've taken them out since I first put them in. I was thinking about putting Rog in my TNK list, so I might actually use my beloved Rog and put him in there. We're gonna look at the spells. Again, if the thing shakes, my bad. Why I go with Japanese foils is pretty much due to Eric. A lot of people ask me if I'm a big weeb or I love anime, and I do like a lot of anime. I don't watch a lot of shows, but I do watch some anime. There's some old ones I really like. I really love Trigun and Serial Experiments Lane. I'm kind of a boomer mostly. I like a lot of Japanese culture, like most white men, that's our culture basically. But I wouldn't say I'm a huge weeb. I just really, there's something about the cards that just really stand out to me. They just have kind of a classiness to them. And I do think genuinely the older Japanese cards especially, and some of the modern ones too, they just seem higher quality. So this is the Invasion of Ikoria, just a kind of mostly worse finale that has a couple upside incidental things with being harder to counter, and you can bounce it. Some stuff comes up with that every now and then. Sometimes you smack it and get an 8/8. That doesn't happen all that often. Peregrine Drake. So this is an example of a card where I'm not sure which one is ideal, because I tend to want to do just Japanese foils. So I have like all the Japanese foils of Peregrine Drake. I think there's 2 of them. Might just be the one, I can't remember, but I have them. For versions where I'm not sure what I want, I usually buy all of them if it's reasonable. But this one, the OG Urza Saga, is the set before they started doing foils. So there aren't foils for a lot of these Urza's block cards that are like super iconic. That's why we didn't get like a foil Gaia's Cradle until they did Judge promos. But Peregrine Drake, I love the OG art a lot more of. This is like something I'm testing, and I think has been quite good. I mean, it's very similar to Cloud of Fairies, and I just felt like in testing the semi-blue list that was on this, that this card just seemed good enough anyways, and it was something I'd already been considering. Curious Follower is a card that I tested. This is basically Cabbage Merchant. I would not play Curious Follower in current Rograkh. I think it's a little too cute and a little too slow. It's kind of hoping for the best. The double pips is a little rough. Cabbage Merchant is really broken. That's what I'm playing here instead. And I've made a couple deck building concessions. We'll talk about with that. I think that card is quite nice though. So I might spawn one of the goats of this deck. One of your more powerful turn 2 plays. A lot of like reasonable curves are turn 1 bit of acceleration, turn 2 micro spawn either into your cradle or cradle and tapper because you already have it. And you can also use it when you present loops and people are like, oh, what if I win when you draw me cards of Fairy Mastermind? You're like, okay, well, I'm going to exile all your lands first, change phases. I'm going to return all the permanents to your hand. Like, you're not going to have anything. What are you talking about, dude? And so there's loops you can do with that as well if you do have to pass the turn. Like, if your list isn't currently built to beat the One Ring. Volatile Storm Drake. I have a Japanese Gilded Drake as well. I do like that this is in retro foil, which is also my preference usually. The upside of this doesn't come up a ton in my meta, but it's something I wanted to test. So basically, this can't take things that cost 5 or more unless you've generated an energy somewhere else somehow. But you can destroy creatures that are sort of symmetrical stacks pieces that might be bothering you, which most creature-based stacks is fine. But anything that you might just want off the board, a lot of times, I think it's actually technically correct in a lot of cases, especially if you're playing against a bunch of other clone decks or Gilded Drake style decks, to instead of greeting and taking the Bowmasters and keeping it, just kill it. Just let it die. Same thing with Opposition Agent because other people will clone it, which we do a lot of too, but I'm just testing to see how much it's come up. And so far, I've not needed to have Gilded Drake instead of this, but I think I also haven't killed anything with it. Maybe somebody's commander. I might have done that before. Elvish Spirit Guide is not in the typical Simic list, which mine is. I'm not a breach build of Rograkh, but it's something I wanted to test because I kept getting into scenarios where if this thing was even in my deck at all, it would give me opportunities to do more things at instant speed. And also it has come up in, like some tournament games to be able to get quicker starts or like in a turbo pod recently where Anala was on the play and I kept a hand that let me go turn 1 dork because of this, and then I had a blue land because our mana base kind of sucks, which is something I've been working on my list. But I had like Manamo, all my lands were like mono blue, and this let me get down a dork to be able to do that. And that kind of stuff comes up with iffiness in our mana. I know we don't like to two for one ourselves with mana, but also I think if Lotus Petal is good enough, a lot of times Spirit Guide is just as good. Phantasmal Image, I really like this new one. A lot of times I don't go for some of the newest arts or full border ones. I think I had a Japanese one, not the original printing, but I think I had a Japanese foil, or at least a Japanese non-foil. But I kind of like this one. I think this one's kind of grown on me. Fairy Mastermind, I don't usually go for full art just for the sake of it. A lot of times I will just grab these, and I also don't care about the promo thing at all. This one was probably just slightly cheaper, and I was just testing this card. I'm pretty solid on it, but I think once you lean into anything more synergistic in your Rograkh list, like a lot of the builds that Sam has been testing with like his breach stuff, or if I wanted to lean more into tokens or something like that, like this is just a card you cut because the ability to kill the table with Fairy Mastermind through Ring has never come up for me, though the ability to have a second Thrasios has come up, but then there's other things that can be your outlet as well. Usually like a Kinnan works in the same position, which is a card I'm on and pretty high on. Eternal Witness. I do want the original Japanese foil Eternal Witness. I just haven't gone out of my way to buy it. It's a little pricey. I think that's honestly the only decent art. I really hate almost every other art. Like this one's just mid. It's just a Japanese foil one that I have. So that would be one I would definitely want if I keep wanting to bling out and just go for upgrades, which is most of what this deck needs at this point. Phyrexian Metamorph doesn't have a crazy ideal one. I really like the Japanese promos that are, if I can get this to focus, this style where they just have like actual Japanese text on the foil thing, especially the newer ones. We'll get to it when I get to some of the cards in here. They really remind me of like the Godzilla movies for whatever reason, like the golden text at the front for like Toho and stuff. But any Metamorph is fine. I also have the Secret Lair one. They're not Japanese, so I don't have a preference for it, but I do have it. Flood Caller, one of the craziest cards in this deck if you kind of get some of your engines going with mana tapping, either your Earthcraft or your Cryptolith Right. It's also very, very strong with clones. It's actually very broken with clones. A lot of times it is like one of the most powerful things you can clone, and it will make you like a dockside level of mana. If you have lots of non-creature spells, then you're tapping and untapping, and you get like, if you have 2 of these things, you cast 1 and you get 4 mana basically. Birds of Paradise, I don't have a perfect printing of. I have a bunch of different birds. I have like I think I have an FBB one if I remember correctly. I know I have some random white border Japanese one. I think I even have a Korean one, and I have some other random newer printings of the Japanese ones. A lot of people will go for the 7th edition foil if they're really blinging. I'm not really a person who's just bling for the sake of bling. I do like that one, but I don't like it like however much it is, like $700-800. I don't know, $1,000, whatever the thing's at right now. I don't really love it to that extent. And also, it's just like, that's one of those things where I try to consider what isn't even the most bling and the most expensive, but just what my preferred printing is. And that one is pretty good. Maybe that's ideal, but there's no like perfect Birds of Paradise that just like, oh man, that one is my one. I kind of have to go through them again, but like I don't really have a perfect printing of that. It's one of those cards where it's just like, yeah, that one's the most bling, but it's not even like, I don't know. To me, it doesn't like stand out. It's like, wow, that's so much better than every other bird. Flesh Dupe is Flesh Dupe. This is the only one you have. I think this is a Surge foil. You can't really tell it on here. You could also get it full. I can't remember if this comes in full art and Surge. It might just be this, but again, I don't really care for the full arts. They a lot of times just look like stretched out garbage. Spellseeker is a tough one. This is another one that does not have a perfect printing for me. I really prefer the original art. I could see going for an original foil. I kind of like foil etched cards though, so I went for the foil etched one, and this one was like a hassle to get. I was using a non-foil one for a while, and then I have a Judge one also, which is definitely my favorite art, but it doesn't come in Japanese foil, so that's another one where I just like grab one, have the other. My perfect one would be the Judge promo art with a Japanese foil, maybe like a Japanese retro foil probably would be my perfect Spellseeker, but that one doesn't exist. And this one's pretty close, and I like this one too. Spellseeker doesn't really have any bad arts. Mockingbird, he's a goat. He's a good little guy. I don't feel like I had to cast him all that much, but it is really nice to have like 1 mana clones in this deck to be able to copy something like an Esper before you or another dork. Turn 1 double dork off of Mockingbird, because we don't run that many dorks now. It's pretty nice. He's just still pretty good as a bird. I don't know that he's like a slam dunk home run must run him card, but he's just too good not to run right now, I think. Seedborn. This is one of the more blinged out creatures in my deck. Oh, I'm also using the anti-glare sleeves, and they do kind of dull my cards, but I wanted to try them out. But this is the, what is this, Legions? OG Japanese foil Seedborn Muse. This is one of the earlier big purchases I had, where for a while I would buy expensive stuff. Like I have a Cradle and a Mox Diamond or whatever. But those were just like, there's no cheap ones. Like Japanese Cradle is usually cheaper than an English one. But I wasn't going out of my way for a while to get very expensive versions of like, I mean, this is like a $6, $7, $8 card, something like that. I have a artist proof of the Commander Collection one that I was using. And then I had a normal Japanese Legions. That's what I was using before I got this. But I did splurge and get that one because I do love this card. It's beautiful. Biomancer's Familiar. This is the like Toho art I was talking about. This just makes me think of Godzilla, and I might just be an idiot. That's a really dumb American opinion probably, but that's just what it makes me think of when I see like this font. I'm a big Godzilla fan too. Biomancer's Familiar is super busted in this deck. It has text on the bottom technically that I've never got to use for adapting twice or something, but technically you can use this to get priority. You can tap this thing to activate it even with nothing, which is a play I've never had to make before, but I look forward to. I always think of little plays that I could make in my deck where it's just like, oh man, I just need to get priority back without having to tap anything. Doom, boom, activate Biomancer's Familiar. Nobody's gonna know what that means. But yeah, this is just one of the actual better cards in the deck. Before we were really cradle pilled, like there was a time when I first started playing this deck, like a year or 2 ago at this point, I didn't run either of these cards. No Seedborn, no Biomancers. We were all about just jamming Cloud Sun Curio wins, and now we are moved away from that. Bambi, another banger. This is one where, again, there is no perfect Bambi, because I do like the treatment of the fracture foil, whatever it's called, but I think that art looks wimpy, and I'm really particular about my art. I think that art makes Enduring Vitality look like a little baby deer, which I guess it is, but this one looks like tough. Like he's you know, or she's, whatever, they're hopping around. They look like strong. The other one just looks so frail. So I like that treatment. I might end up getting it. The Japanese one is actually, I think, a lot cheaper than the English one. Same thing with Starfield Vocalist, which I do think that one's just an upgrade. We'll get to that. But that art just looks wimpier. Like I like that treatment better. But and then again, this is another one where I think you can get a borderless, but it's just stretched out. Kinnan, same deal. This art is kind of infamous for not being the prettiest. I would probably go with the new art. Again, I don't really want extended versions of cards, so I'm using the closed border. Although you can see that I think this is all they had. Okay, don't hold that back from me. And I think this one, it looks like it should be full art. I don't know, but yeah, Kinnan, I'm really big on it. You saw, I mean, it's super broken with Enduring Vitality. I'm currently testing some things in the artifacts where I'm back on Mana Vault and Relic of Legends. I'm on Dramatic Reversal to better take advantage of those, and as well as Cabbage Merchant. And Kinnan just pairs really well with all of those, even though, like, yeah, he doesn't work with the Relic tapping down the thing. But just the more you lean into those kind of cards, the better Kinnan starts to be. And he's already pretty good. Starfield Vocalist, 4 mana. I don't know the exact text, but basically when something enters, you get a enter effect. You get it twice. This card is just tested really, really well for me. It was a kind of staple in semi-blue, but I was already, like, this is when I pre-ordered for Rograkh, because the kind of soft A plus B of this plus Invasion of Ikoria has already come up for me, where this doubles the invasion trigger to search, and then also doubles the ETBs of those creatures. I'm really big on jamming fast wins, and this can just be like 2 mana. It's kind of like a second Cloud of Fairies if you're already going Cloud, and that's my normal game plan, is just make some mana, get Cradle, Cloud of Fairies, clone Cloud of Fairies, get a Breeze Caller, win. And this just works that way. It just isn't reversed, where you do this first, but then it doubles all the other ones. So it makes all the other ones better. For just 2 mana to get this down, it's pretty good. And then it also doubles like Springheart and Nantuko, all kinds of stuff. Displacer Kitten. This is a card a lot of Rograkh has cut because they're cowards. They said it's too scary. And I said, well, aren't we trying to win the game? People should be scared of us. Yeah, this is just a slam dunk card. I mean, we're a Cloud of Fairies combo deck, Cradle ETB. I have Peregrine Drake in here. The biggest issue with Kitten can be if you're on relatively low resources. You often don't have a lot of cards, but especially if you play Kitten and you have an instant and you sandbag it and you just do all the sorcery speed stuff you can and hold on to those instants to help protect your Kitten and fire off on top of people. It is a extraordinarily powerful card. I would not cut it in a normal Rograkh build, especially the Simic one. You don't really have much that's better than that. And again, it pairs like, if you like these, like, I mean, just look at this stuff. Like, why are we run Kitten? Why are we run Starfield Vocalist? Look what we're doing, bro. Look at our Japanese full Cloud of Fairies, you know? Again, this one you can't really, man, if I pull it out. I love the Urza's block foils. They're probably like some of my favorite things in all of the game. Man, you really can't even tell it's that foily. Well, it's got the star down there. Trust me. See, you can see it. Had to get this one. This is another one I was waiting a while for, but I knew it was worth it. They're not like ludicrously expensive. It just took me a while to get one. A common theme with Rograkh has been, I was not the inventor of this deck, but I was the biggest, I guess, personality constantly posting about it and pushing it. And a lot of cards, especially after I did the last Rograkh deck tech that I did, and then the video going over Sam's edition of Breeze Caller and how that was completely changing the deck, you can see the prices of cards shoot up, and like especially Candelabra of Tawnos. I remember refusing to buy it at $600. Multiples that would be on there for like MPs or HPs, kind of low MP, for $600. And now I just feel so stupid because like no matter what, you're spending like $1,000 for the card. Gene Pollinator taps another permanent to add a mana of any color. I think this is just good. There isn't a downside to this card really, because it can tap anything. Like Springleaf Drum, it just has no text if you have Enduring Vitality in play, basically. Although sometimes a lot of times you play the Enduring Vitality, tap the other creatures, tap Springleaf Drum to tap Enduring Vitality, and it works. But Eugene, if you have one, you just tap him as a dork, and then, you know, you tap your Rog. Like, that's the default of this guy, is you play him turn 1. Usually I'll wait till turn 2 to play the Rog so it doesn't get killed, because people go out of their way to deny you any mana. And then you tap Eugene down to tap Rog, add 1 mana of any color. He doesn't add a Bowmasters very easily, being a 1/2. A lot of times people just kind of joke about this card. They don't think he's very good, and that's usually a good sign with some of the more powerful cards that are just like, this is basically Birds of Paradise. People will go out of their way to kill my bird. They see Eugene and they're just like, what does that garbage do? Which is good. That's what I want. Wall of Roots is a card I am very known for playing, and I get asked about this card a lot. What does it do? What's the combo? So let me go over the combo. It's really difficult. Okay. Say I have turn 1, I have 2 mana, which is pretty reasonable. I cast Wall of Roots. Then I put a -0/-1 counter on Wall of Roots, and I cast Eugene. Now I have assembled the combo of generating 1 green at instant speed on anybody's turn by putting a -0/-1 counter on Wall of Roots. there's nothing difficult to it. He's just that he's like a 2-mana dork with haste, who also, if you have a dork enabling effect like Enduring Vitality, he now makes 2 mana because you tap him for mana and put a counter on him to make a green. You can do it 5 times because he's a 0/5. I have found I even like clone this thing. It pairs really well with the Training Grounds and Biomancer's Familiar effects, where a lot of times those are like a mini Seaborn, right? If I have 5 mana, I spend 2 and cast Biomancer's Familiar. I can now activate Thrasios on each of my opponent's turn with Wall Roots. He's really actually quite powerful. He's like one of the most slept on cards. You see him in play, you should feel why. This is a card that is no longer slept on, but was for a while. This is my altar, again by the same altar, should do my commanders, for a Bora Breeze Caller. Underneath it is a Japanese foil Bora Breeze Caller. Funny story, I bought 3 of these when I first learned about the card, Japanese foils. They were $6 when I bought them. These are now, the last one I sold for about $300. But when I went to get this thing jumped in price so much. I sold one at an event for like $120 or $150, something like that. And I used that basically, I kind of made money, but then I used that to get 2 cards altered. This and my Talon Gates, which go together. We'll go over that. And I was like, okay, well, that'll just pay for that. And by the time this thing got back to me, this card was like going for 300. I think I saw one sell for like 350. It is beautiful. This is a card that I will probably never part with. Basically, if I sell this thing, I'm really down bad because this is just such a gorgeous card. This is already a beautiful foil, and I really like the altar and just what it's done with the colors and how much it flows. Rebecca's art in general is just gorgeous. I'm considering getting this signed. I don't know if I want to yet. I'm kind of torn, but it is just such a beautiful card, and I love getting to play with this. Gorgeous, gorgeous. One of my favorite cards in my collection. As far as I know, the most bling Bora Breeze Caller anybody owns. Maybe, I guess, the most famous one that anybody owns. Whatever that means. Springheart Nantuko. I don't like the other art that exists for this card. I think it's fine, but I like this one a little bit better. This card's a banger. Put it on your Cloud of Fairies. Build your own Breeze Caller. Put it on Wall of Roots, put it on Dryad Arbor. There's just so many things this is good with. You just get tons of value. You just get little bugs out of your landfall triggers. It gets doubled with the Starfield Vocalist, which is great. Magus of the Candelabra is a card a lot of people have moved away from. I still get lots of value out of this card. I am someone who's really skeptical of cards when I see them. I really judge a card like every single game that I play it, and Magus just continues to perform so great. This is one of those cards where I play at turn 1, and the people who play against me regularly kind of groan. They know that they aren't supposed to deal with it yet. It doesn't make sense to counter it or force a bullet or whatever, but that it is very likely going to make me lots of mana. It also pairs incredibly well with the Training Grounds effects. Biomancer's Familiar, because you can spend like 1 mana to untap 3 lands with it, which is very, very strong. Going into sorceries, Green Sun Zenith. Now that we're on Dryad Arbor is kind of a banger. There's also just lots of good green creatures. A lot of times can assemble 1/2 of the Enduring Vitality Kinnan soft combo of make a lot of mana. Go get your, like I've used this for 2 to get Wall of Roots in the beginning because a lot of times that is the best setup creature. Kinnan needs something else to be good. Sometimes you use it for 2 to get a dork, but that's basically Dryad Arbor. This thing is one of those cards now where, like a lot of dorks, I will just keep a hand that has Green Sun Zenith and the ability to cast it turn 1 because I have 3-ish mana at least on turn 2. Also can do some loop stuff with it with Fairy Mastermind. Sylvan Scrying, I know not everyone is on this, but I really like having access to my Cradle. I have not regretted this card so far. I use it decently often to go get other lands. So the nice thing about Sylvan Scrying versus like Crop Rotation is it allows you to go get Ottawar or Beseiju. Crop Rite does let you go get Talon Gates, so which they both technically do, but that one's much more efficient. Put it into play, right? But these effects are just generally pretty nice. I could see if I moved into a slightly different direction, more synergy, like if I did the Urza build that Sam Black has, something like that. I could see why I would cut Sylvan Scrying, but as it is, it's pretty nice, and sometimes it's just like slightly less mana efficient way to, like, a lot of times I'll Spell Seeker for this instead of Crop Rot because this is actually less counterable than Crop Rot because any crop rotation that goes on the stack will draw out so many mental missteps. People will be desperate to use them. But yeah, pretty good card. Nature's Rhythm, one of the best cards printed into this deck in a while. It is a 1-card win condition, being able to harmonize it out. A lot of times you will use this, go get your Cloud of Fairies, which makes, 3 to 10 whatever mana. And then use that mana to harmonize it again. Go get either your Breeze Caller or a clone for Cloud of Fairies to cast another tutor. Just a ridiculously powerful card. One of the best versions of this effect in general. I think I preferred this art over the other one because the other one just looks like a blob of stuff. Like I bought one of them. It just looks like stuff on it. I don't really like that art at all. And then Finale, not much to say. Nature's Rhythm, mostly better. Finale being able to be a win con at the end of the game, of course, comes up every now and then. Usually I go for the gut shot loop as my default, but Finale comes up also. So that is all the sorceries I'm currently on. We have Frantic Search, an instant that I think some other people have come around to. I used to be on Hidden Strings as well as this card, and right now I'm testing Dramatic Reversal instead, which I'll show. But this card has just played so well for me. Also, the OG foil signed that I got makes it really difficult not to run it. I love this card. Just a gorgeous card. Again, Hidden Strings also played well for me. A lot of these effects for just untapping lands played well for me. I play in a pretty turbo pilled local meta. Typically anything that's going to help me win like a turn faster, I'm all about. Louis Swa Sacrifice, countering non-creature spells and abilities. This one, sometimes you feel the effect of it on your ability to keep permanents in play. A lot of times once you get developed though, it is just a 3 mana, kind of like Flare of Denial, where you're just like, all right, I'll just spend the mana and counter that. So it's a little bit tricky, but I have really liked it. This is one of the few ways you have to, for instance, counter a Seiju, something like that. Ranger Captain Crack, ETBs of creatures. So it really does hit a lot of things, but it's one I'm a little bit uncertain of still, although in my testing, I've never really regretted seeing it. Sometimes it just does make you make some tough decisions. Snap, OG Japanese foil Snap, of course. What else are you gonna run? This is the only one. This is the only choice for Snap. There's no other cool one really. Not the most outrageously expensive, but it is gorgeous. Again, I love this. This is the first Urza's Legacy, first set with foils. Urza Saga did have the Lightning Dragon, but you know. Psych Rift. This isn't really my preferred Psych Rift, but it's the cheapest one by so much, because I think lots of people tried to scalp these Japanese Final Fantasy things and just got stuck with them. And so now buying this on like TCG Player or wherever, it's even way cheaper than getting it from Japan, because there's just people who don't want these. Whereas a lot of the foil Psych Rifts are kind of overpriced. It's another one where there's not like a super ideal one. I think the retro foil is like not my favorite art, but this one's okay, even though it barely shows a rift. It basically just shows a guy, a Hope from Final Fantasy 13. SWAT. This is the only SWAT. I am a OG Corvold player. That is where I started. I don't think there is another option. I do like the other art for deflecting SWAT, but I have to go with the Corvold one. It doesn't matter. It's not even really a choice. The Japanese foil of it is a little pricey, but I had to do it. Dramatic Reversal. I think I have a normal Japanese foil of this, but I just grabbed this one. The retro foil, I believe, is like a Magic promo for like whatever year it came out, like the 2016 one, I think. I have that one. It's okay. The English one is whatever. The art is goofy on all of them. I would just like a new printing of this. I have no attachment to this stupid art of the Gatewatch. It's just kind of mid. Flusterstorm, again, I am really big on the retro foils. The OG Flusterstorm art is pretty gorgeous. I could see grabbing one of those. I think I have non-foils of some of those. I have multiple foils of this Japanese foil for some reason. But I really like this art too. This is one I was excited to see for this, even though they did MH1. Its bio box thing was also Flusterstorm, if I remember correctly. But yeah, love seeing this get a retro printing, and it's pretty nice. Mental Misstep is one of the few cards where I just have not gone out of my way to buy the foil. I probably will bite the bullet and do it. It is very expensive. It doesn't usually come up all that often. Buying Japanese cards has become a hassle due to the United States' inability to deal with other countries in any kind of positive way. It's probably something I'm not going to rush to do, but if I find a deal on one, because that's another thing too, I just don't. As soon as a card shows up, I just, oh, I'll drop 1,000 on it. I don't care. No, I like kind of scrounging. I enjoy the art of finding a deal. It makes it more enjoyable. For me, a lot of times you also just, in Magic, find stuff from people you meet and kind of become friends with. And yeah, I'm not in a hurry to just drop $1 million on a misstep. I would rather they just reprint it because it hasn't got a reasonable one. So I would like just a new foil, especially like if we got a retro Mental Misstep. That'd be cool. I don't want to get the Phyrexian one. I want an actual Japanese foil. Maybe I'll just bite the bullet and do that. I bought other stupider cards instead. Like my foil Palinchron, I think, was about as much as a Mental Misstep I saw on sale at the time, but foil Palinchron's way more exciting than this garbage. Mindbreak Chap. This one's really goofy. This is the Outlaws one. I actually kind of like the Spider-Man one. I might go with that. The OG is pretty nice. I know they went down a decent bit from before it got reprinted, where it was ludicrously expensive. I might just go with the Spider-Man one because I actually don't mind it. And I don't actually hate Spider-Man Magic stuff. I just hate that that's the worst set they've ever made. So I might go with it. This one is kind of mid. It's fine. There's not really again, Mindbreak Trap's not a card where I have just like, oh man, there's a slam dunk retro foil Japanese with whatever on it. Pact of Negation. This is a perfect example of a card where there is a much blingier version. You can get the OG one. It's not any better. That's one of those cards that like, I see that and I see people go for it and I'm just like, you're just getting bling for the sake of it. It's the same freaking art. It basically looks the same. So that's one of those cards where I just like, I don't have If it's the same art and basically the same treatment, even though like the border's slightly tweaked, I'm mostly not going for it unless this printing was like really rough. Like I don't blame people for buying the OG ad nauseum over the double masters one because that foil is just trash. But Pact of Negation, it's whatever. There are newer ones of it. I can't remember what the art is on some of the newer ones. None of them are great. I really like this one. But this is another card where I would not mind. It's just some random retro foil of it. Gutshot. I could go with the OG one as well. This one is just whatever. This is just the card that's like, it's just here to do a thing. It's just an outlet at the end to deal damage to everybody. I have no really strong opinions on it. It's just here to be one of my like 3 red cards in the deck. It's whatever. It doesn't have like a super cool art out there. Chain of Vapor, Japanese foil from, what is this, Onslaught? This is a relatively recent pickup I got from Doot Loot. That is just gorgeous. This is one of those cEDH staples that is super, super powerful and is very expensive, mainly due to being a cEDH staple. Doesn't really see much play anywhere other than like sometimes you see a one of in like some vintage decks. But is a gorgeous card, a really sick foil. These blue foils, especially from back in the day, are just absolutely gorgeous. Veil of Summer, this foil was so obnoxious to get. They're overpriced because there's only one printing. Or, well, I think there's Secret Lair foil, but not a Japanese foil. Yeah, but getting this thing was obnoxious. I don't remember how much the thing was. It was expensive too, but just they are never available. I went and had one in my cart. Somebody bought it underneath me. And then I got lucky and another one got posted. And yeah, this one took a while. Super overpriced for a Japanese foil of an uncommon from relatively recently. Please reprint this card somewhere. Crop Rotation is another one of those earlier things that I decided like, you know what, this is such a key part of the deck. I'm going to splurge. They're not like outrageously expensive if I remember correctly, but sometimes I forget the price on cards because I haven't been shopping for cards lately. But it is one of those cards where it's just like, dude, this is just part of the deck. This deck has so many just like old Magic cards in it from around this era of the first era of foils that you just got to do it to them, and it's very nice. The most bling one, of course, is the Eternal Weekend foil. I do think that art is better, and I like that one in general. It's not Japanese, of course, like most promos, and it is outlandishly expensive. I've seen only one person actually use it in their Thras deck, and I don't know if they've kept it or sold it since. That is, I think, the most bling thing, borderline the most bling thing you can run in Thras is the foil Eternal Weekend Crop Rotation. Swan Song, I'm not a big, look, I know the weeb accusations are coming in. I have this Japanese deck. I have Hatsune Miku here. This is one of like maybe 2 of the Hatsune Miku Secret Lair cards that is actually reasonable. It's also one of the only Secret Lair Japanese cards. We don't usually get them. And I think this one's just kind of nice. This one has kind of an elegance to it, like a lot of the Swan Song arts. That's what they really do. And it was just reasonably priced. I got it from, I think, a vendor at a tournament I was at. And I was just like, yeah, I'll grab it, sure. I wasn't even playing Swan Song at the time. And I am back on it here as just another piece of interaction. I'm a pretty turbo-pilled guy, but it's something I'm probably going to keep. Fierce is one where there is also the Corvold style full art, and I don't like it because I think Narset looks like she's an old grandma, and it just looks like a grandma hugging a bunch of people. I really like the art from the original printing. The original printing isn't foil. You have to go to the Commander Masters version. And I just have a preference for the foil etch cards when I can get them. There's not a lot of cards in my deck that do have them. So even though it doesn't match with everything, I just kind of like grabbing them because I'm not like a super OCD about all my printings matching. I actually just like my cards kind of having some character, being a little bit different. Flare of Duplication. I have the retro foil as well. This one I just kind of have a preference to right now. Sometimes I go back and forth on them. Neither of them is like slam dunk much better than the other, but I'm currently running this one. It's a very powerful card in the deck. Force of Will is maybe the most contentious card for me personally in my desire for a good printing of it, because I don't think there's a perfect Force of Will printing. The retro foil Force of Will that exists is the one from Dominaria Remastered, I believe. And it is the wimpiest Force of Will art in the universe. He looks like, or it might be a girl in that, I think. They look like they can barely hold on and they're really wimpy. Look at this freaking Force of Will, dude. That's somebody with some willpower. That one, the Judge one, most of the Force of Wills are like, nah, dude, we got this. We're going to destroy them for 0 mana and, you know, paying 1 life and removing a blue card from my hand. They're dominated. This is the coolest a blue mage has ever looked, right? That's what you're doing. And so I don't want my Force of Will to look wimpy. So the retro foil, which is my general preference, I think has wimpy art. The, I think it's Double Masters full art foil. I had the English one way back in the day. The Japanese one is like $600-700, something crazy like that. I really like it. It's still not like perfect to me, but I do think that one is probably my favorite, and it's just so expensive. I don't want it that bad. If I get a deal on it and get some trades, I might get it, but No, I really want a retro foil with some sick art. That's what I want. I want some, whether you reuse an art, I know they won't reuse this art. One is Therese Nielsen, and they don't work with Therese Nielsen anymore. But then also they, a lot of the old art from around this time, like Ice Age and before, it was like, the deal with them was they had to basically pay the artists basically royalties on all the art. So like Demonic Consultation, why does it never get reprinted? It gets reprinted and it's got new art. A lot of cards from that era back, when they get reprinted, they have new art because if they didn't renegotiate to reprint without paying them a royalty on it, then they're not reusing the art because they're cheap and they won't ever give anybody royalties on anything. So they will always use new art, which is why we don't get reprintings on stuff around this age usually. Quarter Calling is just pretty powerful. Retrofoil is probably the best way to go for it. Don't really have a lot to say about that one. Flare of Denial, same deal. I like the other art for it too, but this one with the retro border is just the blue retro border is just so gorgeous. It makes you want to be a blue mage, even though it's really cringe to do so. Now we're moving to artifacts. The most contentious card, the card that I've ranted the most about its printings, is Lotus Petal. I believe by my last count, Lotus Petal has received 7 reprints. It might be 7 total printings, or it might be 7 reprints. I can't remember. There exists no Japanese foil Lotus Petal. I think this is the only one that comes in Japanese, which is the original Tempest one. All the other ones are some kind of promo. There's From the Vaults, which I also have one of those. There's the Sonic one. There's the LGS foil etched one. There's all this promo garbage. And that's it. They never do those in Japanese. So despite years and years of reprints, tons of reprints for this card, it's never been put in another normal set. It's Tempest, or you buy it from a box of something, or you get it by going somewhere. They have never put this in another set, and they have never made a Japanese foil, and it irritates me so much. It's so annoying that we still don't have a Japanese foil Lotus Petal. It's so stupid. Mana Vault is the gorgeous FBB one. This is a card where I'm also kind of torn because there exists Japanese foils, of course, but I really love these foreign black border cards. I have a lightning bolt of this as well that I don't really get to run anymore. But it is such a gorgeous card with just the OG black border Japanese one, no set symbol because this is before that. And there's something about just the FBB cards that I really like. So I'm tempted to use this one, but I do get that based on my normal art style or preferences, I would use a more modern foiling, and I don't think there's a retro foil. So I think if we ever get a retro foil printing, I will probably bite the bullet and switch to that one. As of right now, I'm still using the FBB. Maybe I'll get another foil. I kind of like the newer arts. I don't mind them. There's just not another slam dunk one, and so I haven't switched off the FBB. It just looks so classic and ancient. I really love when Magic looked like old magical artifacts that you would find. Like, there's just something nice about it. Relic of Legends, I am back on testing. I think once you're on Mana Vault and Relic, they all start to get a little bit better. I was on Tezzeret as well. I don't know if I'm going to want that one or not. I could see Relic coming back out, but it does lead to some really powerful starts. Mox Diamond, I think, if I remember correctly, this was the first expensive kind of RL card of this tier of you're spending hundreds of dollars that I purchased. This one I got signed. My friend Pearson went to a MagicCon and got it signed that Dan Fraser was at. So for that reason, I'll probably always keep this one. This also just being it's kind of beat up. I think it was MP, but it's not really too bad. And also just this being my first really big Magic purchase, having one of my friends get it signed for me, I can't imagine getting rid of this one, even though I could see using the foil because it is a very pretty foil, but again, it is non-Japanese, but I do really like the foil. Expedition Map has a slightly blingier one, but there's no really cool one, so I just use this. I might grab the other one. Usually a lot of times it's out of stock. Again, Japanese cards have gotten more annoying. Hold up. I can't beat the allegations if this is the Soul Ring I have. There's not really one I have a strong preference to. I'm using the Miku Soul Ring because it was a Japanese foil one, okay? There weren't that many at the time. It was before Final Fantasy came out, and there weren't any cool ones. I think I bought one of the Final Fantasy ones. If not, I probably will because they're pretty cool. This one's fine. It just is a Soul Ring. The Japanese ones were cheaper when I ordered from Japan, so I just grabbed one. It's really not the best, but I use it. Candelabra of Tawnos, I believe the most expensive Magic card that I currently own. It wasn't when I purchased it, I don't think. It might have been close. But this card, I can take credit for, I think, personally, for this thing being outrageously expensive because Rograkh, and talking to vendors, they mentioned Rograkh's explosion in popularity has caused the price of this card to skyrocket. It is already a very rare card, being a rare from Antiquities, which has some competitive pedigree, not really too much recent, but most recently you see it in like the Legacy Mystic Forge kind of decks. Usually it's one of. It has been known for like high tide style combos, but it hasn't really been super a part of any format until cEDH gave it a deck where it is just a slam dunk powerhouse card, and cEDH players want to own it, and so now it is outrageously expensive. Japanese foil Chromox. I don't think there's a Chromox that I slam dunk love because there's not a Japanese retro foil. I think the retro foil is the Secret Lair one, which I really like too. Chromox is just one of those cards that has really good arts, and just like you can't really go wrong with a printing of it. Mox Amber. This is the only one that I would use. This one's gorgeous. I have a non-foil one as well, but the Japanese foil with this art. This is another one where they really emulate the ancient artifact thing, which is what they're going for in this set, of course. Just a gorgeous Mox Amber is a gorgeous card that shot up in value. I remember having one of these just like out, not even in a sleeve, because when I got one, it wasn't worth anything. Not this printing, but like a non-full English one. And then I looked and it was like 50, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. I was like, oh, okay, this is some suddenly worth money. Springleaf Drum, the only ones I really like are the retro foils again, and there's I think 2 arts of it. There's this and the schematics one. I don't really have a strong preference, so I think I own both of them, but I'm using this one right now. Retro foil Cryptolith Right, we got out of Innistrad Remastered, which is pretty nice. Not much to say on this one. This is another card where once you move into something a little bit more synergistic, you could cut it, and sometimes it's dead where you have like this Relic and Enduring Vitality. This doesn't really do anything, especially this one on its own, not even a body. But I really do just still like being able to like turn 1 Rograkh and Thrasios, turn 2 this very often, or just turn 1 mana creature and Rog, turn 2 this. It just really helps get your mana going. Growing Rites of Itlimoc. There is a Judge one that I might get with a dinosaur on it. I like this one pretty good. There's not a perfect one for me, but this is the Ixalan reprint that they did. And it's still pretty nice, pretty good card in the deck. Another reason that you get rewarded for like Elvish Spirit Guide, stuff like that. Just be able to get something that you can do something with immediately. Earthcraft. Japanese ones are a lot cheaper. I think this is one of the first expensive-ish Japanese cards. I bought this and like Yawgmoth's Will, I think, together. You could also play Roxai. And yeah, just a slam dunk of a card that I always meme about because I never draw it. I think my most recent expensive purchase-ish blinging out is a foil 7th edition Wild Growth. This one is, I think, worth the squeeze. I think this is the blingiest version of this. They have like the new retro of this, but they look bad. The Dominator Remastered ones, they don't look good. And this was just a thing where Doot had it, and I think I had some credit or something, and just wanted to grab something, and this was a card I was like, you know what, I'll bling this out. This is a card I love running in the deck, and they're not outrageous, so yeah, I'll grab this one. So that's a nice one. I think, if I remember correctly, this was the actual first 100% kind of big bling purchase. And that was this Japanese Ristic Study. I believe I got from Propaganda at a cEDH event where I just happened to be going through his binder. And at the end of the event, just had a Japanese full Ristic Study in there for a pretty good price. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'll grab it. He was like, yeah, I don't know why no one has yet. And I just bought it right then and there. And I love it. Could not see using a different one. Gorgeous card. Hate this card in the format. I think it is a bad thing for the format, but if I'm going to use it, I will use the classiest version that I have access to, which is the OG Japanese foil. Although I do think some of the other ones are nice too, but I think this one stands ahead of them. Fish, there's not really an ideal one. I think the Secret Lair one, which has very Japanese inspired artwork, is the best one, but it doesn't come in Japanese, of course. I like this one okay. The original Ice Age one, Ice Age is pre-Japanese cards, so they don't have that. It's only the English and European versions. So this is the peak one for me, or this is the one I'm currently using at least. There isn't really a ideal one. I want to use a Japanese foil though, so I snagged this one. Training Grounds, I love the Judge one, but doesn't exist in Japanese foil, of course, so I went with this one. I might snag the Judge one anyway just to have it, but this is what I'm running right now. And then Song of Creation, I don't think anything exhibits the like Toho Godzilla thing I was talking about more than this card. I'm currently testing Vexing Bauble in this slot, which I think has been better, but I couldn't find my Japanese full Vexing Bauble, which I know I own. And so I just pulled this one out instead. It's a prettier card. It's a more exciting card. But I think currently if I was playing in a tournament like tomorrow, I would run Vexing Bauble, and Vexing Bauble is especially good in my very turbo-pilled kind of local meta. This is ran a little long, so I'm going to kind of speed run the lands. I don't have like onslaught foil fetches. I'm not balling like that. I generally just go for, of course, Japanese foils. Basically going for full arts for the fetch lands. So like the Wooded Foothills, its normal breeding pool, Polluted Delta. This is the Final Fantasy X Command Tower. OG Ancient Tomb, this is another one where I just love the OG one. I might get a Japanese foil at some point. Shifting Woodland. Deserted Temple is a relatively recent pickup. gorgeous Japanese foil. It just looks so cool and looks like so ancient. I love like ancient civilization kind of stuff in my fantasy. This just fits it perfectly. Etch full Prismatic Vista is gorgeous. The full Manamo. I wish I could afford the OG Japanese full Manamo. It's outrageous. Waterlog Grove is a card I'm testing. My mana base is a little different from other Rock Thrasses. I just prioritize good mana, and then if it's going to have some utility, I like this over like, Rejuvenating Springs. Basic Forest. I use for both of my basics the Ravnica Simic Guild Kit Japanese foil. Japanese stat. Mana Confluence, don't have a strong preference on those. Got that Ottawara. So these, for the ones of the fetches that exist in this printing, this is the Dragon Scale, which might be really hard to see on this camera. There we go. The ones that exist, this is what I use. Why do I do this, you ask? I don't know. I just wanted a blinged out version of fetches, and I didn't really resonate with any of them that I could afford because, like, the Onslaught ones, yeah, they're cool and all, and you might think the English ones are expensive. The Japanese ones are way more. They're like 1,000. They're like the Polluted Delta then cost more than my deck. But I use the Dragon Scale fetches because I think they are very sick, and I saw especially the Misty Rainforest, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. They're kind of outrageous. These are probably the most like overpriced things I have relative to how much I like them, but I do think they're quite nice. Again, you got the normal full art. The Seiju, I don't care about the promo. I might get the full art one. I don't know. The Misty Rainforest. This is the one that really sold me on it because the art is just so sick. Again, you can't really see the dragon thing unless I pull them out. The foiling, if you haven't had one of these, it's very similar to the From the Vault foiling. They're not like normal foils. They're very stiff. You can tell they're not really ever going to curl. And they are, yeah, very similar to the From the Vault foils. If you like those, then you might want to look into the Dragon Scales. I have only seen one of these in person. I think I saw the Arid Mesa or something, Japanese. I've never played with anyone else who uses these. Most of the time when I use them, people ask me what they are. Trop Island, which I think was my first RL purchase. Randomly bought it at a store one day just because I wanted to cement that I'm buying Rograkh cards. The other Ravnica Guild Kit card. In that Wimpstead Heath, the Scalding Tarn, the last Dragon Scale fetch. Rejuvenating Spring, which is just kind of a placeholder. Japanese foil Urza Saga, which is very overpriced. The Talon Gates that goes with my Breeze Caller, which I'll pull out, also gorgeous. There is no Japanese foil Talon Gates. Ripple foil, I think, which I also own in English. And then there are Japanese versions like this, but they're not foil. They do not exist. So this was especially a card that I wanted to get a version of that felt better, and it felt more foily, especially like if I pull it out. I'm sure you can. Very glittery and glossy. They also have like a UV light paint on them. I don't have a UV light on me, but if I did, I could show you. And this goes with a Breeze Caller. I'll put it aside so we can do them together. Because these are a like vertical sort of panorama. Japanese Full Immersion Zone, which is a lot cheaper than the English one. This card should get reprinted too. It's very overpriced. City of Brass, I'm just kind of running as a flex decent land. This English white border printing is obviously not my preference, but I'm not high enough on this to grab the like 7th edition foil or whatever, some super blinged version. There isn't one that like super speaks to me, but this one's pretty nice. Dryad Arbor, I have this is the Future Sight, or what is this? Future Sight Remastered foil. It's pretty good. I've thought about going for the OG Future Sight one. If people remember, I was a really big fan of that border, and I proxied up like my TNK to be all Future Sight. I might get that one. It's a little overpriced for a Dryad Arbor. Maybe one day I'll grab it, but I've actually really been liking this one. I think this one's grown on me. And then, of course, the last card is a Japanese Cradle. The most blink version of this would be the foil, and I'm very torn because I would like to own it. It's kind of expensive for a version I don't know that I would use. I like it. It isn't a real old foil, and that it's not from like the actual Urza set. The Japanese one is just, I don't know, it's just iconic to me. It's hard to not use a Japanese Cradle in my Japanese Rograkh list, so this is definitely my preferential one, though I know if you expect me to have it the most blinged possible, then it's not going to be that. Let me grab my Breeze Caller. This is the Talon Gates Breeze Caller Panorama where the colors flow into each other. Gorgeous. One of my favorite things I own, again. Just absolutely love it. One of my favorite things, alongside the Commanders, of course. These, if you're ever down at an event where Jade is at, or just Altars by Altars in general, get them to do something for you. I love it. we're a little long on this one, so I think that's going to be it. But yeah, if you like Japanese foils, snag you some. They're harder to get nowadays, but of course I love them. I'm a big fan. You can also go through like Dude. Sometimes you can find them online, different Discords and stuff. But in general, I do love them. I do plan, you know, the more, if I purchase more cards, which right now I'm kind of chill. But I'm thinking about getting a couple cards for maybe TNK. I've put that together. Of course, I always recommend this. If let me know if I sold you on Japanese cards either now or in the past. But yeah, I think they have like an elegance to them. I can't really describe what it is that makes me drawn to them, but something about it. I just love owning them, and I've really enjoyed collecting this deck over time. And it's been a fun way to waste a bunch of money, but you know, it's still there, so I guess it's not really a waste. And if you have fun doing something, is it really a waste? But thank you so much for watching, and as always, go play cEDH. Have a good one, everybody.